Welcome to the Clockwork Percussion Podcast. Today we have Jim Haas. Welcome.
Oh, thanks. How's it going?
Good. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet. The goal of these conversations is just to get to know you as a drummer a little bit better. And the first question I got for you is, what got you started behind the kit?
Okay, so yeah, I bought my first drum kit in junior high school, actually, from a friend of mine.
Okay.
His parents bought him a kit when he was a kid, and he just never really played it, but I always had a desire to. So, I think it was when, like, a couple of friends of mine started getting into music, and we had a guitarist, bassist, and they just needed a drummer, and I kind of, fit the bill and just always liked drums and decided to buy a kit and start playing.
Nice.
But going back even farther, like when I was a kid, I would even set up like pots and pans as a kid and just bang on them. So I think
Really?
I think as a kid, you can tell, like, when you see kids that just bang on shit and, like loud noises, you could tell like who's gonna kind of like work well as a drummer.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So you were just like setting shit up and playing before you even...
Yeah,
like,
actually,
really?
I remember one time going to the mountains. My grandparents had a timeshare up in Big Bear or Lake Arrowhead or somewhere up there.
Yeah.
Lake Gregory, actually, is kind of where it was. But they had, how those homes are built on like steep slopes sometimes, and the driveway is on the top. And then it goes downstairs.
Right.
So there's like a space underneath the driveway where we would like climb down and play underneath like the wooden deck. And I set up like a bunch of like trash can lids and stuff that I found around and made like a little drum kit out there when we were just hanging out as a family out there one time.
Damn, dude.
So yeah, there's like, it goes back to, when I was like really young, just banging on anything I could find.
So there was this immediate gravity with drums. That's fucking sick.
I think so, yeah.
I've talked about this a few times on the podcast about how rhythm is just innate, and people that have the beat will just be drawn to it, and that's clearly the case in your situation.
Yeah.
Just sick. What was your first band?
So we were called Critical Mass, actually. Was
Okay.
the band name.
Cool.
But it was basically just like we did covers. We played like Nirvana was like the first cover I ever learned, Come As You Are, I think it was. And just stuff like that from back in the day. K-rock kind of music, I guess you could say.
For sure.
Yeah, but so like I was saying, a friend of mine played guitar. Another friend of mine got a bass, and then I got the drums, and we just started learning covers.
Okay.
And the name Critical Mass is actually kind of funny. Our bassist came up with it. His name's Kelsey, and I don't think he plays bass anymore. Actually, that bass amp that we have in our studio is his amp from like 20 years ago or something. Like it got passed on to us, and somehow we ended up with it.
Just forgot about it.
Yeah.
At least it's getting used.
He lives up in like Reno now.
Okay.
But he got the name Critical Mass, I think, from like Jimmy Neutron or some cartoon. It was like he invented something that the levels reached critical mass and it was like about to explode, and he thought that was cool.
That's the fucking raddest name.
Yeah.
That's a good first band name, Critical Mass. Fuck yeah. So what are you doing nowadays?
Yeah, right now I'm just I have a drum kit in a studio with my buddy Dave, and we practice sometimes. We don't really have a serious band right now, but lately when I'm playing, I'm just practicing with headphones on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, nothing serious at all really right now.
Right on. Any lessons or?
I've actually never taken lessons. I could probably really benefit from it, but I've never taken lessons.
Okay.
Yeah, other than like YouTube videos.
For sure.
Self-taught stuff, but
I mean, that's the thing is like the internet makes it so accessible. If you really if you know what the idea or the concept's called, you can just learn all about it online. Just sick. Very cool.
Yeah.
So what kit are you playing now?
So right now I have the Tama Star Classic kit set up. I got a 12-inch rack tom, 16-inch floor tom, and I bought an 18-inch floor tom to go with it.
Hell yeah.
It sounds awesome. And a 22-inch kick. And Yeah, I got a bunch of snares, so they change out quite a
Okay.
bit.
What's your
Yeah.
favorite?
Man, I like them all. The Black Beauty's awesome.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love that one. The 14 by 6.5. Or the one I'm playing right now is it's an Outlaw drum. They're from like the East Coast somewhere, Virginia
Okay.
or something like that.
Wow.
But yeah, it's a white pine stave drum, like
Oh.
stave construction.
Yeah, those are interesting.
Yeah,
I've never played one.
it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's kind of like I think pine's like a softer wood, which is weird because usually you want like a harder wood.
Right.
But this works out because it's thick and yeah, it just
Okay.
works. I love it. And it looks really cool, which helps too. It's
Yeah.
like forest fire pine. So it's like got like burns on it. So there's
Whoa.
there's like
Oh,
burns on the edges.
It was actually like in a forest fire.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So their whole thing, Outlaw Drums, their whole thing is like I think all their drums are made out of reclaimed wood. So they do like there's an old building that fell down and they take that wood and reclaim it and make drums out of it.
Okay.
Or in this case like a forest fire, or it's just interesting because their wood comes from all over the place and usually it's reclaimed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dope. Outlaw. I got to look into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Who's your favorite drummer?
Oh man, I don't really know. It changes all the time.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, like way back in the day, it was probably like almost everyone else. It was like Travis Barker.
Okay.
It was like my idol.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one. I really like metal drummers, even though I'm not like really a metal drummer, But I like Ray Luzier from Korn.
Okay. Yeah.
Even
he's
though
dope.
it's fun, like I've never really been a fan of Korn, but I like his drumming is just sick,
Yeah. Well, he was like a pro clinician drummer before he joined the band, wasn't he?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay. Yeah. I mean the original Korn drummer, David Silvera, he was really unique in like his own stuff for like a pop metal band, for stuff that's on the radio. He was playing like some cooler stuff, like some cool tom hi-hat stuff, and and then I've liked what Ray's brought to it for sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Who else are you into nowadays?
Oh man. Let me come back to you. On
Okay.
that one. Yeah. Let me think about it. Yeah.
For sure. What type of sticks do you use?
Usually just kind of like 5B.
Okay.
Like standard
Yeah.
sticks. Yeah.
Solid.
I have been kind of trying out like stuff a little heavier. Can't really go like too heavy though, but just like Luke Holland has a signature stick from Meinl, and they're just a little heavier than a 5B.
Was that like 3A?
Might be.
I think there's.
I don't really know exactly what it is, but it's just a little heavier, and that
Okay.
actually feels pretty good.
It's not like a 2B though. It's not like the super.
No, I don't think it's that thick.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I was told that 3A was in between 2B and 5B, but I don't think I've picked up a pair, so I'm not sure. But I've seen that guy before. He's like drumming. He's a gun for hire for everyone. He's like super popular.
Yeah.
But he's pretty good.
Yeah. Luke Holland?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you haven't seen his stuff?
I don't think so.
He's sick. He's mostly kind of like a YouTube drummer, I guess you could say. Like,
Okay.
but he has original stuff that's pretty amazing. He covers like, everyone from like Skrillex to metal stuff, like all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so he's pretty.
And he's a Meinl
diversified.
artist, and
Gotcha.
yeah, he's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyone on Meinl that plays Meinl, any Meinl artist is pretty awesome usually. From
For
like
sure.
Annika Niles to Thomas Lang, right? Like,
Dude, Thomas Lang's one of my favorites.
yeah,
For sure. That guy, like.
Benny
when
Greb.
Yeah, Benny Greb's awesome too.
Yeah,
Those guys are all super unique and have their own things going. Thomas Lang was at the Las Vegas drum show back in March, and he did like a meet and greet and then like a hour-long, like show Q&A afterward.
okay,
And I got to ask him about tuning a little bit, and he's a really nice guy and
nice.
super fucking good.
Yeah, he seems like a like he's got good energy. Like he's always energetic and like he'd be
Yeah.
kind of fun to be around, huh?
Yeah, he's really positive, and he was like super into creativity and like pushing your limits, and he knows like everything about the drum set and like rock drums like inside and out.
Yeah.
There's nothing that anyone asked him that he didn't have like an immediate knowledgeable response about.
Right.
It was really impressive.
That's
And
cool.
Yeah.
So
Cool
did
guy.
you go out there just to see him, or
Um,
was it like
I-
a full on drum clinic thing?
I went out there to get a feel for the show because next year I want Clockwork Percussion to have a booth. I'll have at least 2 products out then. So I want to go and you know, it's like a few $100 to set up an 8x8 little square and just be there all day and meet people and kind of start getting into the industry. So
Okay.
um,
Nice.
yeah, that's like the reason that I went, and it was a bonus that he was there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So you got the drum key already, and then you got the
the pad.
coming soon, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, a couple other ideas, but I think that's all that will be ready by this coming March. I mean, it takes a while to get a product developed and then manufactured and then shipped over.
Right.
So I wish I could do more before then. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
so dude, you have the Star Classic, but I know you also have another kit and a
Yeah.
couple other kits. Let's talk about them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've accumulated a bunch of gear over the years. So
Fuck
yeah. Yeah. I got the Pearl, the acrylic kit. What's it called? The Crystal Beat kit.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Is that
And then
just sick?
so that's kind of the same setup, like 2 floor toms, but it's 14 and 16
Yeah.
instead of 16 and 18.
Okay.
And yeah, and then that little Questlove Ludwig little bop kit.
Yeah.
That one's kind of cool too. You know, I have it set up with mesh heads and as a practice kit right now, but that thing actually sounds awesome. Like just as a regular acoustic kit, like it's obviously a lot different because the sizes are a lot smaller, but it's very punchy. Like it's super fun to play like, you know, hip hop beats and like you know,
Yeah.
just play along to like really simple grooves.
For sure.
Yeah,
Because
sounds
it's
sick.
what's the it's Questlove, and what show? He's on like one of the Tonight shows, right?
He's he is on Conan O'Brien or something or one of those
Okay.
shows.
Yeah, yeah.
But he originally played with the Roots.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hip hoppy kind of
Yeah.
just like groovy kind of stuff.
Nice. Okay, so dude, the acrylic kit I'm just fascinated by. I think that'll be my next kit. Is it just like punchy and loud and like
Sounds pretty awesome. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay.
I love it. Yeah, it's got like it's kind of like it's attacky but kind of like a controlled sound to it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because wood has all the plies, and then like the resonance gives all those overtones.
Mhm.
And I think the deal with the acrylic is just because it's like one solid piece of plastic, it's like more controlled and less
Right.
less
That makes sense.
overtones.
Uh-huh.
So people often say that it's like louder, but I think what it really is just controlled and punchy, and you just get like the one sound.
Right.
So
It does seem like it doesn't resonate as long, right? It kind of like
okay,
yeah, it's like quick attack and then it's kind of cuts out quicker too,
Right.
which makes sense because it sounds like controlled. It's just like boom,
yeah,
and then it's gone. Yeah.
Dude, I have to thank you because I was playing with Tama Iron Cobra hardware for a long time, and when I was jamming with Mike at your studio, you have the 5000 double pedal.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I went out and bought one after jamming on yours for like probably 2 sessions and changed all to DW because of your setup.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's funny because I've actually thought about trying out the Iron Cobra, just to get a different feel. But yeah, I mean, why change it up, right?
Yeah,
It's a great pedal.
it is, dude. I had the Iron Cobra Junior when I first started playing, and that was like a single chain double pedal. And that was okay. And then I upgraded to the Iron Cobra, which is double chain. It's supposed to be like the premier, the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking like Slipknot and like all these fast guys use them. and it could have just been that how the beaters are like so small, which is why you can go so fast. And maybe a lot of those guys are playing with triggers, which would make sense. But I don't know. I think it was something else too, because I experimented with the old one, and when I do the 5,000, like anytime I play one, it's just solid.
What's different about it? Like the weight? Does it feel heavier?
It
'Cause
definitely,
I know the beaters are heavier.
yeah, it definitely feels heavier, but I think just the construction and the overall mechanics of it, like the physics of the pedal, is just more. It's like well made.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't discourage anyone from the Iron Cobra. It was like a light went off though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, oh, this is like a way superior pedal for me.
Yeah. So you switched to a DW hi-hat stand too?
I did. Yeah, I got the 3,000 dual leg.
Yeah, that's funny. I have the exact same
I think
pedal, both pedals. You know, the hi-hat stand and the double pedal.
yeah, dude, I ripped you off.
Yeah.
Bro.
Nice.
So thanks again. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. It's like been way better of an experience. So, then what's your dream kit?
Man, I'm to be honest, I'm like pretty happy with the gear I have right now.
Okay.
I don't think it could get. I mean, yeah, you can get a nicer kit. You can always find a nicer kit or have something to like lust after, right? But
For sure.
I'm like pretty stoked on the gear I have. I don't think I necessarily need. There's nothing right now that I like have my eye on. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm like pretty stoked with what I got.
That's great. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I know there's someday I'll like something will catch my eye that I'll be like, oh, I gotta have it, you know, a DW kit or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now I'm like, I just need to practice more.
That's don't
You
we
know?
all?
Yeah.
Well, you kind of now that I think of it, didn't you have like a Gretsch for a while?
Yeah. So when I actually going back, like my first kit I bought was a sound percussion from a buddy of mine.
Okay.
And then I like my upgraded kit was a Pearl Export. And that kit was like the first kit I ever had that wasn't like super crappy, you know? Like, I mean, like it still wasn't great, but I felt like, okay, this is a good kit at the time. And then I stopped playing drums for a while and sold that and moved around and didn't have a kit for like 10 years actually. And then when I got back into playing, I bought that Gretsch kit.
Okay.
It was the Catalina Maple, and pretty solid. You know, that was fun to play on for a couple years. And then I sold that and got actually an old vintage Ludwig kit.
I remember that one too.
Yeah, that was cool. That was really fun to play on. I kind of wish I still had that. And then I tried like a Mapex kit, and
Wow.
yeah, I've gone through quite a bit. You know, just changing it up, trying different things out.
Okay. So yeah, and then you landed on the Star Classic, which is like, from what I've heard, an unbeatable.
Yeah,
Kit.
There's the Star Classic Performer series, and then the one I have is the Walnut Birch, which is like the newer. Because they used to use like Bubinga and Birch, I think.
Okay.
But now they're Walnut Birch.
Yeah, I heard the Bubinga's like going extinct or something.
Oh yeah, it's probably hard to source it, huh?
Yeah. Maybe from the drumming industry, everyone's just like, this fucking Bubinga shit.
Yeah, I think they're pretty sought after because they probably sound great. But yeah, the Walnut Birch is awesome too, and I'm like super stoked on it. It looks great, it sounds great. Yeah, I can't really ask for anything better, I think. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's rad, dude. Yeah, the acrylic is like my next dream, but I like this one too. It's just like maple, but yeah, I feel the same way as you, man. Like there's always gonna be something, you know. You just don't know what it is until you see it.
Yeah. What brand do you have your eye on if you're gonna get an acrylic kit?
Actually, it's a good question. I want to do like a totally custom thing. And I think it's called drummaker.com or drummaker.net. And you can buy shells that are like you can get the bearing edges cut and the holes drilled. and then you can assemble it yourself.
Nice. Okay.
And
So
you
you
get-
would just buy the shells, buy the hardware, and like build it yourself.
Yeah. And I think I would go like extremely large sizes, like 24 by 14 or 16 kick. And then, I don't know, either like a 13 rack like I have now or even a 14. And then a 16 or maybe even an 18 floor.
So you're going like Bonham sizes, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite drummer, Gabe Serbian from the Locust, used those sizes, the large ones, and there's just no way to like replicate that on record. And like the way it felt live, I watched that band play probably like fucking the Locust like 12 or 13 times. He passed away, unfortunately. Rest in peace. But super creative drummer, and then he just had this like thunderous sound. He played a Ludwig, so it was totally like a Bonham influence for him, I bet. But I think that's how I do it. And then, yeah, now that I know that the custom option's out there, it'd be hard for me to go to a manufacturer except for Ludwig because they're just iconic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, there are a lot of options, you know. I think the Pearl's like on the lowest price, you know, the lower end as far as price goes. And, you know, it could be because of the construction of them and the build. Like they do kind of come, the hardware seems to come loose a little bit.
Oh,
I should
really?
probably put some rock locks or whatever you know, on there or something to keep them in tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they do, especially the floor toms, seem to go out of tune a little bit. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But still, it's a great kit. I love it. But yeah, it's definitely the cheapest I think you could find. But yeah, the Ludwigs are going to cost you a lot more.
Yeah.
But they're probably going to be a little nicer to play on too.
Well, they all have like a different way of making the fucking acrylic too. Like Spawn, I think, does one piece, like no welding. They're just like one piece somehow. I have no idea how they do it. Ludwig does an acrylic weld where they fold it in like they heat up the rectangular strip of acrylic in like, it looks like a pizza oven. And then there's a mold and they put it in the mold and then they weld a strip of acrylic on the inside of the cylinder.
Gotcha.
As it's like curing, and then they cut the edges.
Yeah,
and drill the
I
holes.
have heard that. Actually, that's why people often won't ship like certain acrylic kits, right?
Okay.
Because they have like that weld that is prone to crack, like either over
Right.
time or under pressure.
Yeah.
So actually, the Pearl is seamless too.
Oh,
Just-
really?
Yeah, just since you
Seamless.
mentioned it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck, how are they doing that?
I don't. Yeah.
That's
I don't
rad.
know.
What type of cymbals do you like?
I've played mostly on Zildjian, but I've also tried Meinl. I've tried like a lot, you know, kind of like with drums. I've gone through over the last couple of years. I've bought and sold like a lot of cymbals. So I tried like some Meinl dry cymbals. Yeah, but right now I just love the Zildjian K Suite cymbal set.
Really?
That's kind of like what I'm playing on now. Yeah.
Okay. Are they like medium, heavier, lighter?
They're kind of like medium. Yeah, like the Zildjian K line, like not too bright, not like the A. But just a little more warm, but still like bright enough to be like rock,
Okay.
you know, cymbals. But yeah, I have like the 14-inch hats, the 21-inch ride,
Nice.
and a 17 and 18-inch crash.
So the Meinl stuff was almost too dry?
For my kind of taste, yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun to play on for a little bit,
For sure.
but yeah, I just kind of like a little more brilliant, kind of bright sound to it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting. They seem to be like almost all dry, that Meinl. Like I had some crashes, classics, I think was the line, and those were brighter, but I played on some of your stuff and then just listening to like a lot of endorsed guys that you were talking about. It seems all dry and like, yeah, almost like too dry.
Uh-huh. Yeah, a little bit. It could be great for the right kind of music.
Oh, for sure.
For, you know, whatever it is. or if it just fits your style, if you like playing it. Yeah, it just didn't really work for me though.
Right on.
Yeah.
What does drumming mean to you?
Wow, that's a deep question. I don't know. For me, it's, I guess, just an outlet, where I can go bang on the drums and not think about anything else really. It takes 100% of your concentration, and so you can't really think about other stuff while you're doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of zones you out and demands your focus. So yeah, I guess I'd just say like a creative outlet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that answer, man. Everyone has a different reply to that question, but I think I relate to that answer the most is like it's a total escape.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything else is just falls away,
Yeah.
which is very cool.
Yeah. That's a great question. I'm curious what other people answered.
Yeah. You'll have to listen to the previous episodes. But some good answers there for sure. Yeah. We've touched on like the spiritual aspect for sure. How it's just kind of like innate that we're rhythmic, and the creative aspect for sure as well. But any tips that you have for the listener that you found useful?
Who's your audience? Are they drummers?
Just drummers.
Yeah, just drummers from all over, all different skill levels and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we talked about this. I was like, I'm not really a professional, so I don't feel like I'm in the place to be like giving advice. I don't know, but I don't know. What was the question? Any tips?
Yeah, any tips? Like, do you find like playing to a click helps, or like, do you have like a warm up routine that you like, or does a certain band like pump you up more than another one?
Yeah, I probably should play more to a click, and I should probably take lessons. Like we were talking about before the podcast started, I think I've never taken lessons, but yeah, I think I'd really benefit from it. So anyone like starting out, I'd probably suggest it. I should probably take my own advice and get lessons too. But yeah, I'm sure that could definitely help, playing to a click more, taking lessons, practice consistently. Like if you really want to get good at anything, right? Like going once a week and playing for an hour, like you're not gonna really see yourself progress.
Mm-hmm.
But when I guess throughout my drumming journey, when I've seen progression and like seen myself noticeably get better, it's when I'm like playing like 4 or 5 times a week,
Mm-hmm.
and just like consistently practicing. And also, yeah, having a warm-up routine really helps too. Like having, just playing on a pad, warming up before you go over to the kit. Like it's not very fun. It's not something most people want to do, but
Yeah,
it's definitely going to benefit you and improve your playing a lot more.
for sure. So when you play on a pad, what do you like to do?
Just kind of really basic warm-up stuff, actually, like singles, doubles, paradiddles,
Okay.
that kind of stuff, some flams, Swiss Army triplets, stuff like,
Dude, I mean,
basic stuff.
That's the first things that you would go over in lessons.
Yeah.
So you're already ahead of the curve there. And I've seen you play a bunch of times, man. I think you're a great drummer.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about having this podcast and just getting to know everyone's background a little bit. Is everyone's coming from, like, their reasons are different for playing,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine my life without drums. So
Yeah. I know.
Fucking
Ever
rad.
since I started playing again, it's very hard to imagine not having like a studio or somewhere with a kit set up where I could go jam,
yeah,
at least once or twice a week. It's a nice, like I said, like an escape, just a break from everything else
Totally.
in life, right?
dude. So I've taken breaks before. I want to go back. You said you took like a 10-year break.
Yeah.
What was that about?
So I moved I moved, around, and I had an apartment and I had my kit in my closet for like 2 years actually,
Mm-hmm.
and I never could play it because I had nowhere to set it up.
Yeah.
And then I eventually just sold it, and because I was moving again, and I'm like, am I gonna bring it with me? And it was just a Pearl export kit. Like I don't miss it, you know. What I mean? So, but yeah, I sold my kit, moved, lived in all over like different apartments, moved to San Francisco, LA,
Wow.
kind of all over the place. So yeah, I didn't really have anywhere to play for a long time, and then moving back to Orange County and having some friends that actually had a studio here at right next door to your studio
Yeah.
is he said, we got a studio and we're like, if you want to move in and split it with us, we'll just split the rent. And so I was the first one that moved in, got a kit again, and started playing. And then people come and go, and but yeah, like having a studio again, I guess it's been like 7 years now that I've been playing again.
Right on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just, I hope I will always have a place to go jam from now on. Yeah.
Absolutely. Dude, one thing I want to say about and ask you about is anytime I have played any of your kits, they're always tuned very well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's your methodology on tuning?
I guess I just go by ear, like the sound and feel. Yeah, I've never really used any like tuning tools or drum dials or anything.
Okay.
But yeah, I've just watched videos on how to tune, like doing the hand tight, and then kind of hearing it and listening, and making sure they're all in tune with each other near the lugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, just going by ear. It takes time, but it's kind of worth it because to get it dialed in just right.
Yeah. Dude, it's like when I played that old Gretsch kit with the 5000 double pedal and the Meinl cymbals back in the day, like it made me realize that I was like, man, I play drums all the time, but I fucking suck at tuning. And I was like, shit, like I really got to focus on making my drums sound better, because yours sounded great every time I got on them. And I was
Really?
just like, yeah.
Okay.
No,
And
dude.
that was with the Gretsch kit?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah, the Gretsch kit that used to be in like the left corner of the room. 'Cause
Okay.
You had the two. You had like the Gretsch
Yeah,
and
one
the
time I had
Ludwig,
two
right?
set up. Yep.
And they both sounded great, and like your snares and everything. And I just remember it like kind of kicking me in the butt to focus on it more, and like exactly what you said, just get all the tensions even, and really start training my ear, because it's I want to say it maybe can come naturally, but like it doesn't to me. It took like a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, it does take work, takes time. And it depends on the sound you're going for too, I think, right? Like
Totally.
especially with your snare. That's fun to mess with, because you can really get like a lot of different sounds out of a snare.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're playing. Like if you're playing just like a fat, like slower rock beat with like a fat sounding snare,
Yeah.
or faster like metal stuff, like cranked super tight.
Yeah.
So yeah, I messed with it quite a bit, but yeah, thanks, man. I never really knew that I had great tuning skills.
No, for sure. They always sound like, the reason I knew is because like I'd go from playing my kit, or I'd play your kit and then go back to playing my kit, and I'd be like, wow, my toms sound like shit. Like the kick and I've just always cranked the snare, because like I play faster metal stuff, so it was just like never really paid too much attention to that other than just crank it. The kick is so low, and I used to just stuff it. And the toms always sounded like super pitchy, and I think I'd pay attention to it when I was changing the heads, and then whatever, like when I'm doing all my hits are rim shots, and whatever lug was closest to where the stick hits, next to the head, was always just tuned lower, because I never tune it back up. And so then I'd play your drums, and I'd be like, wow, these sound like good. Like you obviously put time into this. And I'd go back to my kit, and I'd be like, fuck, like how do I get that now? You know what I mean? And every drum is different, and you just have to learn like what your kit kind of demands, and to your point, to like what style you're going for.
Yeah.
And then you're playing before before we started chatting, and now I know that I like really wide open, like single ply heads, and I just fucking, tune it. Actually, what I do is I tune everything up a lot more, except for the kick drum. That's finger tight.
Okay.
And that keeps it nice and low and thuddy. But everything else is up. Like my toms, I used to think like, oh, they need to be like super fucking low to be like heavy in a metal band. But it was the opposite. Like bringing everything up made them stand out more. And if I want them lower, there's like a threshold that they can go in between before it gets too low, and then they sound like shit. And I never really realized that.
Yeah. The other thing is the resonant head is like super important.
Totally.
That's one thing I've like in the recent, year or two, or, recently I've just learned that it's like super important not to neglect it. You could try to tune the top head all day long, and if your resonant head is out of tune with itself, but also in relation to the batter head.
Yeah.
It's like super important to get try to get like a good interval. I don't even know. You just kind of know it when you hear it, I think.
Yeah.
But the way they interact with each other is very important. And if one's like way higher or lower than the other, it can really throw it off.
Totally, dude. It's physics at the end of the day. And when the question I asked Thomas Lang was, how do you tune your drums? I wanted to know. And he was like, so I do everything finger tight, seat the head, punch it in a little bit and get that like glue around the rim of the head, kind of like cracked and settled on top of the bearing edges. And then he said he tries to make each head sound equal, the batter and the resonant head. And then he's like, for rock, a lot of guys will tune the resonant head slightly up.
Right.
Like slightly tighter, and jazz is slightly lower.
Okay.
And it has kind of like a different thing going.
That makes sense, because jazz drummers usually have their batter head like real tight.
Yeah.
Right? Very responsive and
Yes.
tight. So to have it like lower, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you can hear it on the records when they're doing like fucking the drum solos and shit. And it makes sense. You're like, fuck, that resonant head actually is lower and like you said, super responsive on the batter head. So that was like game-changing stuff for me. It was a lot of your kit setup, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad I could be, help you out.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Anything else that you want to mention or talk about?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Cool.
No.
Cool.
Did you have any other questions lined up? Or?
No, that's really
pretty
it,
much
man.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
just like wanted to get to know you. I mean, we're friends, so I've known you for a long time, but now the world knows.
Yeah. Right on, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, you're
Good
welcome back
chatting
anytime.
drums with you anytime.
Sweet. All right, bro.
Cool.